Hey, somebody in the comments asked for a breakdown of chapter 12. So I'm going to give that. I'm going to break it down, help you try to beat it. Let's start the battle. So I'm in hell mode because my power level is pretty high right now. But I remember exactly the skills I used in order to beat it. So this is a stage where you're in the middle of it. So you want a few different skills. The small medical tower is one of my absolute go-tos for stages where you're in the middle. And for the enhanced attribute, because I'm in hell mode, I'm going to pick the least effective one, in my opinion. All weapons cooldown lower by 5%. All right, so obviously start that off by shooting, and the spinning dagger is going to be one of your absolute mainstays here. The spinning dagger and the small medical tower are absolutely essential for stages where you are in the middle. Obviously, you're going to want to upgrade the spinning dagger. Let's go with quantity +1. At the beginning of the stages, I always like to do capsule quantity +1 because that increases the damage done by 100% because you're shooting 2 capsules instead of 1. So obviously early on, you're going to be just using your capsule for most things. Now we got 4 capsules, 400% of the initial damage. Nothing groundbreaking there, but hey, it works. So right now we've got the two main, or at least in my opinion, the two main skills that work for stages where you're in the middle under your belt: the medical tower and the spinning dagger. We're going to keep upgrading the spinning dagger, because once it starts to get close to you, this is going to be absolutely essential. Another spinning dagger boost. We got a gold chest right here. Let's see what skills this has. The sterile swab is typically more associated with levels where you are on the bottom, but it is severely underrated for central mounted levels, because you can aim it, and if you aim it right, you can aim it at the closest point of the head. All right, spinning dagger size up 30. That is essential because it allows the spinning dagger to hit the virus when it's not that close to you. Let's see what we want here. Critical rate up. Try to improve the size of your cotton swab as soon as that skill unlocks, though, because that will make it a lot easier to aim it, because when it's at its small size, it tends to overshoot where you're trying to aim it. Damage boost on the critical swab, yes sir. What do we want out of these? I tend to like the acupuncture because it shoots in the exact same location as your capsules shoot at. The disinfectant bubble is pretty good here, though. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage it doesn't do damage over time, but when it does hit, it does a significant amount of damage, and it's more effective in the in the levels where you're in the middle of the stage. Tadpole, meh. I'm gonna go acupuncture. As you can see, the acupuncture needles, once they hit, they start shooting everywhere, which is really effective. Out of these skills, I'm going disinfectant bubble, but hyperostosis is actually not a bad one. It's kind of not that useful when you first unlock it, but when you start doing quantity upgrades, it's pretty good. However, disinfectant bubble is what we are going with. Being that there's 2 viruses, Obviously, you're going to want to aim your capsules, your cotton swab, and your acupuncture needles at the longer one. Now, sometimes you'll get these gold or these orange attributes, whatever. I tend to like the Fire Dragon Soar is a little bit not doesn't tend to be the best one. Underrated, even more lasting. That means your medical tower is going to have a lot more lasers at the same time. Critical damage. There's the size boost of the cotton swab. So the next one's going to be larger, and it's going to be aimed significantly better. Obviously, you want to damage boost the medical tower. Currently, progress level is 40%. We're making pretty decent headway on this so far. Let's see. Out of these, the damage boost to the disinfectant bubble I like. You can never lose, though, by increasing the quantity of your capsules or enabling burst fire. That usually works out pretty well. Cotton swab. The circular slash, meh. Boosting the quantity of the acupuncture, super effective, because look how many needles start shooting around and damaging everything that they hit. So the acupuncture needle in that instance is kind of the best of all worlds. Critical damage be up. Unless you have a super high critical rate, that's not super effective, in my opinion. None of these are all that effective. Let's go refresh. Critical rate plus 50. That's an excellent boost right there. Look how many critical hits the cotton swabs are starting to fire off. Now with the cotton swabs, I like to alternate between the top virus and the bottom virus. Cotton swab damage 40. I like it. Because not only does that boost the damage, but by extension, it boosts the critical damage. Damage boost to cotton swabs again. Shot quantity. Let's go shot quantity with the acupuncture. Because now we're firing 5 shots at a time. And there's so many acupuncture needles flying all over the screen that it occasionally makes it a little bit tough to track what's going on. But in this case, not necessarily a bad thing. Out of these, I like disinfectant bubble damage boost. Now, the initial percentage damage boosts are going to have typically the largest effect, because the rest of the damage boosts you get, they don't increase your damage percentage by what it currently is. They increase it by what it initially is. So 30%, if it's a 30% damage boost, that's your third damage boost, doesn't quite do the same, as strong of an effect as the first damage boost, if that makes sense. Acupuncture critical rate boosts are sometimes pretty overpowered. That's why I like them. And we're going to go with one more spinning dagger. The daggers tend to be kind of your MVP here. So any dagger boost you get, take it. Capsule quantity up again. And as you can see, I'm firing my cotton swab at the area closest to the head of each virus. Disinfectant bubble, launch quantity plus 2. I know it's a little hard to see, but if you can see the damage that the disinfectant bubbles are doing, it's a pretty high grade of damage. The biggest damage dealers, though, are the medical tower and the spinning daggers, because they do a lot of damage over time. We're going to go launch quantity plus 2 again for disinfectant bubbles. Now you can see there's a pretty high quantity of bubbles flying all over the stage, and they're hitting the parts of the virus that are closest to you. So they're knocking off the parts that at the moment are the easiest to take care of, which is what you want. Medical Tower cooldown. This is an excellent power up to get because reducing the cooldown increases the amount of lasers that are showing up at a time. All right, we continue forward. Boost, split quantity +2. So that makes 2 extra needles fly around each time one needle splits. So I'm going to go with that because those needles that are flying around have a pretty good outsized effect. Now we're basically in bullet hell mode. Victory is pretty close at hand, so we're just kind of marking time until victory comes. But Cotton Swab, critical damage, meh. Actually, no, that's a good one because the critical rate has already been boosted 50%. So, critical damage boost, we're going with it. Cotton Swab size up again because that allows you to target a larger portion of the virus at the same time. Now, certain skills are completely useless in these round levels. For example, I find the massage sticks to be massively useless in these round levels. All right, we won. I find the tablet not to be all that useful. And then some of the purple skills and orange skills that you acquire later in the game, you probably aren't going to have them by the time you're trying to beat level 12 for the first time. But I find a lot of the purple and orange skills to just be flat out useless compared to the skills that you get at the very beginning of the game. So my MVP skills here are the daggers, the medical tower, and the cotton swab. Those are the important ones to get as far as I'm concerned. Close to that is the disinfectant bubble. But the tadpoles and the snot dragon, they're effective but not essential. So I don't tend to really go for those unless I just need to fill space with some other skills. And then obviously the quantities of, the boost to the capsules, they are effective at the beginning of the stage because they allow you to get quick chests and keep the virus at bay. But once you get the medical towers, the cotton swabs, and the spinning daggers, you're going to want to focus more on those for the most part. Quantity boosts for the capsules are kind of an exception to me though, because just by increasing the quantity, you can do a ton of damage. And if you get piercing up by 2 or 3 or whatever, then you'll be able to hit more parts of the virus and essentially multiply your damage even more. All right, so that is my breakdown of Chapter 12, the Work Slave virus. Use those skills and you should be able to do a pretty good job beating it fairly easily. And if you still can't beat it with those skills, you may just need to grind a little more and go upgrade your Heartlet character a little bit. All right. Yep, that's it. This is Game Hydro. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and stay tuned for more level videos. And if you want to request a level video, then do leave a comment and tell me which one you want to see me break down.